Ever wonder what secrets might be hiding right under your feet? Well, today we're digging deep, peeling back the layers of Earth and time to uncover this incredible hidden world from World War II. And it all starts in a place you would never, ever expect. Okay, picture this. It's 2018, South Poland. An exploration team is out in the middle of nowhere, literally standing inside the crater of an old extinct volcano. Everything's overgrown, and then they see it, something that just doesn't belong. A single metal pipe sticking out of the ground, going straight down. So of course, they had to know what was down there, right? They sent a night vision camera down that pipe. And what it showed them, about 30 meters down, was the beginning of a mystery that had been waiting almost 80 years to be solved.
So what did they find? What was at the bottom of that pipe? Well, the answer was honestly more incredible than anyone could have possibly imagined.
That little camera revealed a massive, man-made tunnel, and inside, a railway track, perfectly preserved with an old mine cart just sitting there. Once the local authorities got wind of it, they showed up with this faded old map from the war. And there it was. The team had accidentally found a lost Nazi bunker, sealed up with huge stones and completely reclaimed by nature for 8 decades. The craziest part? Tools were just left there, as if the workers just dropped them and walked away. A total time capsule. Now, here's what's so wild about this story. That bunker in Poland, it wasn't some one-off thing. No, it was just one tiny piece of a massive, secret war that was being fought underground all across the globe.
See, during World War II, both the Axis and the Allied powers built thousands of these strategic bunkers, and they had a dual purpose, which is pretty genius when you think about it. First, they were shields, places to protect soldiers from bombs and artillery. But second, they were swords, secret fortified command centers where attacks were planned. The sheer scale of all this building is just staggering. One estimate puts the total cost of all these WWII bunkers, if you adjust for today's money, at around $1 trillion. Think about that. It was such a monumental effort that it actually caused worldwide shortages of steel and cement. And to put that in perspective, every single day during the war, the spending on bunker construction was something like $460 million. That is more than the daily cost of the entire 20-year war in Afghanistan. And remember, that's just for building them, not for the people, the logistics, or all the ammunition inside. And make no mistake, this wasn't just an Axis thing. Everybody was doing it. You had the Germans building the infamous Atlantic Wall and Hitler's Führer bunker. But on the other side, you had the Allies running their operations from places like the Churchill War Rooms in London or relying on huge fortifications like the Maginot Line in France. It was a global race to dig in and go deep. But of all of these incredible projects, one really stands out. It was the most ambitious, the most formidable of them all. Hitler's concrete fortress, built to protect his entire European empire. They called it the Atlantic Wall, and the whole idea was to create this impenetrable barrier of steel and concrete that would stop any Allied invasion from the sea cold in its tracks.
The numbers here are just mind-blowing. It stretched for 2,400 miles, all the way from Norway down to the border of Spain. We're talking thousands of bunkers and gun batteries, and it was all built in just 4 years by the Todt organization, the Third Reich's engineering group. And they did it using over 250,000 workers, a huge number of whom were forced laborers. So for the Allies, this wall was a nightmare. They knew they had to get through it somehow. But a painful early attempt would teach them just how high that price was going to be. The first real bloody test came on August 19, 1942. A force of mostly Canadian soldiers launched a raid on the French port of Dieppe. The plan was pretty simple. Test the German defenses, poke the bear, and see how strong the Atlantic Wall really was. Well, the lesson they learned was brutal. As soon as the Allied troops hit the beach, they were just cut to pieces by crossfire from those concrete bunkers. Out of about 6,000 soldiers sent in, more than half were killed, wounded, or captured. It was an absolute catastrophe. Dieppe was a disaster for sure, but it was also the wake-up call the Allies desperately needed. They finally understood just how powerful the Atlantic Wall was, and they realized if they were ever going to break through, it would take years of planning and an absolutely overwhelming force. And the shockwaves from Dieppe were felt everywhere. Realizing how effective these defenses were, nations around the world doubled down on going underground. In the Pacific, Germany's ally, Japan, started digging these insane labyrinth-like tunnel systems on islands like Iwo Jima and Okinawa, getting ready for their own brutal defensive war. So, after years of meticulous planning, gathering intel, and building up one of the largest armies the world had ever seen, the Allies were finally ready to face Hitler's concrete fortress head-on. June 6, 1944, D-Day. To crack the Atlantic Wall, the Allies threw everything they had at it. I mean, the numbers are just staggering. More than 156,000 soldiers, backed up by 5,000 ships and 11,000 aircraft. It was one of the largest invasion forces in human history. The fighting was unbelievably savage, and the cost in human lives was immense. But this time, it worked. The years of planning, the sheer numbers, the air superiority, it was enough. They breached the wall, got a foothold in Normandy, and started the long, bloody road to liberating Europe. The so-called Invincible Wall was broken. Which, of course, brings us right back to where we started. The war ended, empires collapsed, but thousands of these concrete giants were just left behind, swallowed by the forests and fields of Europe, waiting to be found. So why are we still finding them now? Well, there are a few reasons. As armies retreated, they often blew up the entrances or sealed them for good. The secret blueprints showing where they were? Most were burned. Plus, these things were designed from day one to be camouflaged, to just melt into the landscape. And after the war, people just forgot about them. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a massive complex like the one in Poland could stay hidden for 80 years, how many more of these subterranean time capsules are still out there? Silent witnesses to a world at war, just sitting there, waiting to be rediscovered.